Hi, I'm Irene Woods. This is the support pattern for Lesson 2 of the GK 370 Beginner Series. We are learning some new techniques in this pattern. Watch the lesson video first and practice the sample given in it. Hat version 1 uses the techniques in the lesson. Hat version 2 adds stripes, including a hint on how to match them at the seams. I also show a second way to decrease at the crown. This reduces the bulk a little and makes it easier to cinch the hole closed. We will use a yarn that knits to a gauge of 20 stitches and 28 rows per 10 centimeters, or 5 stitches and 7 rows per inch. The stitch style will probably be 7 or 8. I will use 7 for my yarn. Make a swatch and check your own stitch and row gauge. Bring forward 91 needles, then return every other one to position A out of work. Thread the carriage with waste yarn. Knit 1 row. Hang the cast-on comb. Check to be sure there is a tooth through every loop. Knit 1 row. Bring the alternate needles back to work position. Set the row counter to 2. Knit 5 rows. Remove the waste yarn from the carriage. Fasten a clip to the end of the ravel cord and thread it into the carriage. Knit 1 row. Remove the ravel cord and clip it. Fasten a clip on the main color and thread the carriage. Reset the row counter to 0, 0, 0. Hang a weight on each edge. Knit even to row count 42. Remove the weights, clips, and cast-on comb. Hang the hem. Turn up the cast-on edge. Slide the transfer tool under the first main color loop above the ravel cord and hang it on the second needle from the edge. Pick up all main color loops and hang them on the corresponding needles above. I'm using 2 prongs to pick up 2 loops at a time. This speeds it up a little. The ends must come out even. There should not be any extra loops left on the ravel cord. Hang the cast-on comb in the waste yarn. Turn the stitch dial up 2 numbers and knit 1 row. Return the stitch dial to the original setting. Knit 3 or 4 rows, then hang a weight on each edge. Knit even to row count 84. Transfer every other stitch to its neighbor. I'm pushing the fabric back against the bed with my left thumb. This makes it easier to transfer the stitch off onto the transfer tool and onto the new needle. It also helps to prevent dropping a stitch. Repeat the transfers all the way across. Bring the working needles all the way forward. Knit one row. Uh-oh, there is a problem. The carriage can't move forward. Those needles in the red ellipse on the left did not get pushed all the way back, and they are blocking the carriage. Push them back and the carriage will knit across. Knit one more row. Remove the yarn from the carriage. Measure it across the working needles plus a little extra and clip it. This will be used to sew the seam. Measure the yarn twice across the working needles plus a little extra and clip it. This will be used to cinch the top closed. Thread the doubled yarn into the yarn needle. Remove the clips, weights, and cast-on comb. Pick the stitches off onto the threaded yarn needle. I'm using a 6-inch upholstery needle for this. They are available for Amazon if you're not able to find one in a local yarn or craft shop. You can also use the yarn needle for this. Repeat across until all stitches are on the doubled yarn. Pull the needle all the way through and remove it, being careful not to drop stitches. Pull both ends of the double yarn, gathering up the top. Cinch as tightly as you can, then knot several times. Do not cut the yarn ends yet. This is how the top should look. Pick the ends of the ravel cord free for a stitch or two on each edge. This is easier to do using the tip of the needle. Pull the ravel cord firmly. The fabric will gather as the cord is pulled out. Work those gathers toward the opposite edge while pulling the cord. Repeat this several times. As the gathers reach the opposite edge, the cord will pull free. The waste yarn will now peel away. If a bit of waste yarn got caught in the fabric and won't pull out, snip it, being very careful not to snip the main color. Pull the fabric lengthwise, especially the double brim. Knitted fabric is stretched widthwise under tension while on the bed. Pulling it lengthwise helps it go into the proper shape. Check that there are no drop stitches or bits of waste yarn caught in the hem. It's time to seam the hat. Take the doubled yarn tails out of the way. Thread the needle with the yarn tail from the top of the hat. Insert the needle into the first row at the top, where it is tied together. I'm going under 2 bars. This is another way to work mattress stitch. Do the same thing on the other side. Now work back and forth, going under 2 bars, 1 stitch in from the edge. Repeat this until a few rows from the hem. The hemline needs to match. If you are off a few rows on either side, it will show. If this happened, pick out a few stitches. Go under 1 bar instead of 2 on the long side. It may be necessary to do this more than once. Sew through only the outer side of the hem. I have a little hole right at the hemline. Because I went under both layers there for just a single stitch, I'm taking out a few rows to do it over. This time I'm going under just 1 bar at the hemline, being careful that it is in the outer layer only. Then I go under 2 bars again, back and forth from side to side. At the hem fold, turn the hat slightly inside out. It is easier to complete the seam this way. Oops! There's a drop stitch. I missed that when checking the hem earlier. I'll repair that after finishing the seam. The drop stitch is close to the seam, so I can use the seaming yarn. Insert the needle through the first row of the hem, just above the stitch. Pass the needle through the stitch. Go back up through the first row of the hem and down through the stitch beside. Back through the drop stitch, then work the yarn back into the seam. Sew back and forth through the seam ridge and clip the yarn. Tie a few more knots with the doubled yarn ends. This is a child's hat. Children usually pull the top of the hat to remove it. Extra knots provide more strength to the crown closure. Clip the yarn, leaving ends about 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 centimeter. Here's the crown and the finished hat. Now let's add some stripes and a slightly different crown decrease. We will use the same pattern. I cast on 89 stitches with waste yarn and ravel cord, knitted 42 rows and hung the hem, replaced the cast on comb and knitted 4 rows. Remove the main color but do not clip it. Thread the carriage with contrast stripe color. Knit 4 rows. Hang the weights. I should have done this before knitting the stripe. Remove the contrast color, but do not clip it. Thread the main color and knit 2 rows. Remove the main color. Thread the contrast color and knit 4 rows. Remove the contrast color. Thread the main color and knit 2 rows. Knit 1 more stripe if you wish. I did. Remove the contrast color and clip it. We have completed the stripes. Thread the main color. Knit even to row count 84. Starting with the 4th needle from the edge, transfer every 4th stitch to its neighbor using the transfer tool. It's easier to do this by first bringing every 4th needle slightly forward, using the 1x3 needle pusher. Bring the working needles all the way forward. Be sure the empty needles are all the way back to position A, or they will block the carriage. Knit 2 rows. Transfer the center stitch in each group to its neighbor. This leaves every other needle in work. Knit 2 rows. Remove yarn from the carriage. Measure it 2 times across the working needles plus a little extra and clip it. This will be the seaming yarn. Measure yarn 2 times across the working needles again and clip it. This will be used double to cinch the top of the hat. Thread the doubled yarn into the yarn needle. Remove the weights, clips, and cast-on comb. Pass the threaded needle through every stitch to pick it off the machine and onto the needle. Pull the yarn tails together and cinch as tightly as you can. Tie several knots, but do not clip the ends yet. Check to be sure there are no dropped stitches. Thread the sewing yarn into the needle. Insert the needle tip into the first row at the crown. Go under 2 bars. Do the same on the other edge. Repeat this, going back and forth, one stitch in from the edge on each side. If you are off a row at the first stripe, it will make a visible jog. To correct this, back up one row, then go under 2 bars. Continue picking up 2 bars on the other edge. This will pull the stripe together correctly. Once this correction is made, it is usually not necessary to do it again. But check at each color change to be sure. Correcting the jog can also be done when mattress stitching by going under 1 bar at a time. To do that, go under the bar on the short side, back up 1 row on the long edge, and go under that same bar again. Complete the seam and remove the waste yarn, the same as we did for hat version 1. Waste yarn can be removed either before or after completing the seam. Finish the hat the same as for version 1. In this lesson, we learned to cast on with waste yarn and ravel cord, hem using the transfer tool, decrease the crown with the transfer tool, a new way to sew mattress stitch, and make stripes match at the seam. Congratulations! You are well on your way towards mastering the GK 370 knitting machine. In Lesson 3, we will learn to E-wrap cast on, make mock cables, use yarn markers, and do a latch tool seam. Until next time, happy knitting!